Think about your last birthday. Now think about your 10th birthday. Which one felt longer? If you're like most people, your childhood summers stretched on forever. Every school holiday felt like its own lifetime. But now, a year flies by before you've had time to notice it started. You haven't lost your mind. And time isn't actually speeding up. But something very real is happening inside your brain. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your life the same way again. In 1877, a French philosopher named Paul Janet proposed something simple but unsettling. He suggested that we experience time as a ratio, a fraction of our total lived life. When you are 5 years old, 1 year is a full 20% of everything you've ever known. It's enormous. But at 50, 1 year is just 2% of your life. Almost nothing. This is called the proportionality theory of time perception, and it's one of the oldest explanations we have. And while it doesn't tell the whole story, it's not wrong either. But ratios alone can't explain everything. The more fascinating answer lives inside your memories. Your brain doesn't record time like a video camera. It records events, experiences, new things. When you were a child, almost everything was new. Your first bike, your first day of school, the first time you tasted something strange. Each of those moments got stored as a distinct, vivid memory. Now think about last Tuesday. Can you even remember it? For most adults, last Tuesday looked like Monday, which looked like the Tuesday before. Your brain didn't bother storing those days as separate memories, because nothing new happened. And when you look back, a blur of identical days compresses into what feels like an instant. This isn't just philosophy. Neuroscience backs it up. Your hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for forming new memories, is most active when it encounters something unfamiliar. When you travel somewhere new, learn a skill, or meet a stranger, your hippocampus fires up and says, "Record this." But routine gets filtered out. The brain is efficient, brutally so. It doesn't waste energy storing information it already has. Researchers at Duke University found that as we age, we process fewer distinct mental images per unit of time. In a very literal sense, our brains are taking fewer snapshots of life as we grow older. Fewer snapshots means fewer memories. Fewer memories means a shorter feeling past. There's another layer to this: attention. Time feels long when you're watching it. Think about waiting for a kettle to boil, or sitting in a waiting room. Those minutes crawl. But time also felt long in childhood, because you were fully present. Everything demanded your complete attention. You weren't distracted by 100 adult responsibilities. Psychologists call this the difference between prospective time, time you're watching as it passes, and retrospective time, time you remember looking back. As adults, we're almost always operating retrospectively. We're on autopilot. And autopilot doesn't take notes. Emotion also plays a powerful role. Strong emotions, fear, excitement, deep joy, cause your brain to encode memories more intensely. Your amygdala, the brain's emotional processing center, effectively stamps certain experiences with a "save this" signal. This is why traumatic events can feel like they lasted forever, and why your happiest childhood memories feel so vivid and detailed even decades later. Adrenaline slows your perception of time in the moment, which is why car accidents feel like they happen in slow motion, and why your first kiss felt suspended in time. Childhood is full of emotional intensity. Adulthood, for many of us, is less so. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. If time feels short because we're not having new experiences, then a life lived on autopilot is a life that will seem, in retrospect, to have barely happened. Studies on elderly people asking them to reflect on their lives consistently show that those who report the richest sense of a long, full life are not those who lived the longest in years, but those who had the most varied experiences, the most novelty, the most learning. The people who say it all went by so fast are often those who stayed in the same job, the same routines, the same town for decades. This isn't a judgment, it's a pattern, and it's one we can do something about. The good news is this: you are not helpless. Researchers and psychologists point to a few practical levers you can pull. First, seek novelty deliberately. You don't need to quit your job and travel the world. Even small breaks in routine, a new route to work, a new skill, a new recipe, can prompt your hippocampus to take notes again. Second, be more present. Mindfulness isn't just spiritual wellness buzzword. The science shows that paying deliberate attention to your current moment actually increases the density of memories you form. Third, mark time consciously. People who journal, take photos, or reflect on their weeks consistently report that time feels richer and fuller to them because they've turned passive experience into active memory. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Time isn't speeding up. Your brain is just getting better at filtering out the parts of life that stay the same. And in a way, that's almost a message, a quiet signal from your own mind that it's hungry for something new. The year you learned to drive, the year you moved to a new city, the year everything changed. Those years always feel longer, don't they? Because they were full of firsts. You still have firsts ahead of you. The only question is whether you'll go looking for them. Thanks for watching Quiet Atom. If this made you think, there's more where that came from.